is the last time we decided that we were going to empower the women that work for us?
I think people get scared.
Yes, what is women empowerment? Why is it that we can't take a domestic worker? And it doesn't mean that we're going to start when we are 3 months, because we also don't know what our motives are. Because of how many con men there are, a lot of people don't want to complete the transaction online because they're not sure that the product is going to get to them.
Oh, they've had bad experiences.
Exactly. I remember having to wash a towel. Not because we didn't have enough towels. I did it for like 2 minutes. I said, oh my God, my back was hurting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, my nails, what's going on? I'm like, this is hard work. So literally, this is what I did. Thank God it was mine. I washed my feet. I put the towel in a bucket and I started stomping on it. When my sister passed away in 2018, my life fell apart. I fell apart, and that's actually one of the reasons why I came to Uganda.
What would you say for someone who, went through that loss? How did you find your way back?
I don't know that you ever really find your way back.
Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me and thank you for joining us for these fabulous conversations on Crystal One-on-One. We are on location at my favorite place in the heart of Kampala City, the Sheraton Kampala Hotel. We're by the pool and the weather today is pretty good. We might take a dip later. We're actually talking about, my guest was like, why don't we do the interview in the pool? I had a moment. But anyway, my guest today is, I feel like there's so many ways to describe it. Number one, big energy, bubbly, passionate about helping others, creative in so many ways. She is the founder of Good Housekeeping Africa, where she works to empower employers but protect the rights of domestic workers. So that's a very important conversation that I'm looking forward to having. Now, she's also the founder of Picnic Kikapu, which has all these different products. There's the Nut and Honey Company. There's Jonathan Cookie Dough, which I've just found out about. And what else?
The Flavor People.
The Flavor People. I've just got some beautiful chocolate coffee. Yes. And so many other things. I have Wangeci Kamau joining me today.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy.
I don't know. You and I have been talking about this for so long.
Oh,
yes.
Finally, we get to chat.
I know we do.
How are you?
I'm super duper. How are you?
I am very good.
Wonderful.
You had a conversation last year that shook tables.
Yes, I know.
Bit, right? And I was like,
sure did.
There she is. There she is.
It sure did.
A conversation about being in your 50s and child-free.
Yes.
Not childless.
Yes.
Child-free and your
Yes.
decision
Yes.
not to have children.
Yes.
How was that received?
Actually, it wasn't received badly. We had so many comments. I was actually quite shocked about how many comments that came out. Of course, we had a few that, were talking negatively and saying, no, she's very lonely. She's like an old, cat lady person or whatever. And then there are those who would say things like, who's going to take care of you in your old age? And for me, I figure that if you're only having children for you to have someone to take care of, to take care of you, it's extremely selfish. You should have children because you want to have children. But this conversation also brought in so many other conversations because I started getting people in my inbox asking me, can we have more conversations with you? Yes. Are you willing to have a panel or you're willing to have lunch and discuss this? And I also had people who came into my inbox and said to me, thank you so much for validating how I feel.
I've most of the ladies I had seen openly talking about their decision to be child-free.
Yes.
I felt like we're not African women.
No.
Exactly. It was like, oh yeah, you're seeing women abroad and everything.
Yes.
And they're talking about it. But a conversation here, because we're still very conservative.
Yes.
I was like, I feel like, yes, you're giving permission to women to own their choices, because more than anything else, Wangeci, I believe that people who don't want children should not have children.
And the interesting thing is that it's not just women, men as well.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember, like in the interview where I was talking to Susan Grace and I was telling her, do you know how many men actually didn't want to be fathers? But because society believes that they'll fall under different categories of why they haven't had children, whether they're players or whether, they can't have kids. And so a lot of men also did that because they were proving that they're men by having kids.
True.
But they didn't
or maybe
really...
the choice was taken away from them.
Exactly, or the choice was taken away from them. And so I also had men talking to me and telling me, Wangeci, thank you for having this conversation because I don't want children. But my parents, in the African society, it's get your education, get married, have children, die. I mean, really, that's the order of the business. And if you don't, if you decide, like I decided that that's not for me,
Yes.
then everybody kind of looks at you like there's something wrong with you.
There's something missing.
Exactly. I remember when I was living here, I went to the hospital, one of the hospitals here, and I was going for a checkup. And I remember the doctor asked me, how old are you? It was my first time there. How old are you? I told them my age, whatever. Then he's like, married. I'm like, no, thank God. And then, and then number two is like, how many kids do you have? I said, none. And he put his pen down and he asked me, are you African? I said, what? He said, yes, are you African? And that to me was, you're an African woman, you must have children.
Yes.
And there's those women who've also said to me, I felt so bad when one of these ladies that I read on social media, she says, I didn't know that I had a choice. Can you imagine those sad words of somebody saying, I didn't know that I had a choice?
I'm sure there are many people
Exactly. And she says,
who actually have neglected,
yes,
being just completely absent
Yes.
with their children
absolutely.
because they never wanted.
They didn't want them, but society forced it upon us that the only way you can be a real woman is if you're married and you have children.
In fact, I think the phrase for the longest time was, you're so selfish.
Exactly.
You know what raising a child entails.
Exactly. I've seen you raise your children.
You've seen
I've seen my godchildren. I've seen whatever, and I'm just thinking, like right now, I'm a dog mom. My little Iris. And right now she's going through this phase where she's not eating, she's not drinking, and she just sits there, looks at me. And I'm just thinking, if this is what I'm going through with the dog,
is a sensitive little soul.
exactly. Iris,
My dog is special.
Yes, Iris is special.
Yes.
So imagine if that's what I'm going through now, where I'm looking at her at midnight, I'm thinking, you've got to eat something. Now imagine if that was a child. I was like, thank God I do not have children. Because you'd go to bed hungry.
It's funny that you mentioned men in this conversation because I feel like for the longest time, the pressure was more on women.
Yes.
And it was more accepted for men to have that choice. To say, I don't want.
Yes.
And maybe because if they decide at 70, they do.
Yes,
They
they
can.
can. Exactly.
But because for us, we have this
a
biological
timeline.
clock.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like 25, your parents are like, at 30, they're like, anybody around? Anybody? At 35, they're like,
and they're like, they're even telling you, I remember, like I said, my aunts were asking me, they're like, so now since you've refused to bring a husband, you can have a child.
Yeah, you just bring a child.
And I would ask them, so we are going to pluck them from trees. We're just going to go and pull them and say, you're my child. They're like, no, we are women. And I said, how selfish is that?
I know, and everyone says, it's okay.
We will help you. We will help
but
you.
like you said,
at
midnight, thank
you.
You are on your own with your children.
So call me selfish, I'm okay.
Absolutely
I'm
beautiful,
okay.
but I really feel if someone really doesn't want them,
I don't. I don't.
good for you.
Yes.
Good for you, and good that you allowed other people to also speak up.
Yes.
I think.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you. Yes.
you mentioned when you were living here. So, for people who might be wondering, you're living, I think, both Uganda.
Yes,
I'm
this is my
claiming
second
you
home.
were.
Yes. This is my second
Both
home.
Uganda,
Yes.
but Kenya,
Yes.
and you are Kenyan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you grow up in Kenya? Let's go back.
Let's go way back. Yes, I was born and raised in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya.
Yes.
But in the heart of things, I'm a village girl. I love the village. Like literally, I love the village.
So the city, the noise, the cars.
I can do both. Like when I go on vacation,
Yeah.
I prefer to stay in the city, like in a high-rise building. Like the other day I was in, not the other day, but last year I was in Cape Town and I was in a Airbnb on the 26th floor. I'm like, this is the life. This is how I want to live.
That's how you go on vacation?
Yes.
It's supposed to be the other way around.
No, that's what I do.
So you want the luxury and the high rise.
I want the luxury at the high rise. But you see, when you live there all the time, it's going to get annoying because we are from all different walks of life. So somebody's playing music at 3 a.m. Your neighbor upstairs is stomping, door
That's the thing about
slamming.
apartments.
So as much as I want the high-rise living, I
Yeah.
don't think that I could do it because I also don't like a lot of noise. And that's why I'm a village girl, because it's quiet.
Yeah.
Because it is quiet. So yes, I was raised in Nairobi, Kenya. We moved to the UK as a family. What do you call it? When I was in my late teens.
Oh, okay.
Came back from the UK to Kenya. Then I got antsy again. Went to the US. Came back. And started coming to Uganda. So I
Yeah.
was always in and out of Uganda. Of course, I have a sibling who lives here. So always back and forth, back and forth. And then in 2019, I moved now to Uganda.
Yes.
And I was working for a tech company, True African.
Yeah.
And I was here until 2023 when my contract was done. And I moved back to Kenya. But
Yeah.
since then, of course, I've been back and forth,
Yes, back and forth.
because this is my second home.
Yes.
I love you. Honestly, I love Uganda. Whenever I come here, I'm just like, oh my God, I missed it. I hate the
Yay.
traffic and I hate the borders.
I know.
Yeah, I do.
They
drive me insane.
They do such a wonderful job. Don't get me wrong. I
Yes,
know
they
so
do.
many people. It makes life better.
It
But
does.
there are some of them.
I know.
Some of them you just want to.
Jesus, take the wheel.
I know.
Yes.
So it's interesting. I was talking about this creative side of you, but you
Yes.
also have the very corporate side.
I do. So my background is in human resources.
Yes.
Yeah, I studied HR. And when I was in the US, I was working in an HR role. And then when I came back
Okay.
to Kenya, what I was doing is helping organizations build call centers, because call centers back then in 2007, 2000 were the new thing, the in thing. Everyone's talking about call centers. I didn't move to support centers. I didn't move to contact centers. And so I consulted for even some of the telecommunications companies here in Uganda. I did Nigeria. I also consulted for one of the leading airlines in Africa as well to set up their call center. So yeah, I was doing that as well as playing the HR role.
Okay.
Yes.
When did you start to do, maybe, should I say, more of consultancy?
When I came back from the US, I went straight into consultancy.
Okay.
I didn't really want to be employed. I think that we struggle. I'm not going to talk about just myself. I know that other people struggle as well when you've been working outside.
Yes.
And then you come in and you find it a bit more rigid.
Yeah.
And your ideas might seem to be like you're in competition with maybe your peers or your bosses. And that's not the case. It's just that, when you've come from outside, you maybe see things in a different light.
True.
So that a lot of people actually come back to be more of a consulting role or consultant role, because it makes more sense for both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least it did for me.
All right.
Yes.
So this creative side, because I know you cook, you always...
Can't you tell? If you can't tell that I love food, yes,
Hey.
I love food.
Man, what can we
Yeah,
say?
I know, like, oh my gosh, we have to love ourselves.
So is that
Yes.
where it all started? Like the picnic Kikapu, when did that start?
What's very interesting is that the entire time I was living, in the South in the US, and that's where the food is and everything. But I wasn't really much of a foodie. I mean, I enjoyed my steak and, I ate out, don't get me wrong, but I was never really in the kitchen.
Okay.
It only started when I came back. You're so busy in the US, for you to sit down and start watching Food Channel or whatever, it never crosses your mind. You're so busy, you're going to school, you're working, you're doing all of these things. Then I came back and then I started watching the Food Channel. Literally, that's how it started. I thought, I
Okay.
could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I could do that.
Oh, it looks so good. You're like, I want
You're like,
that.
I want that, and that's how I started cooking.
Okay.
And so when I was also doing my consultancy, as a consultant, I'm sure, like, even when you were on radio, etc., I say you're like a starving artist, because you could do a consultancy for 6 months and no one pays you, and you're begging them and you're thinking to yourself, it's my money. I worked. I mean, I don't understand. And so I started
That is
thinking,
the beauty of being self-employed.
absolutely.
Is things don't come on time.
Everyone who's saying that you want to be self-employed, woo, again,
You
Jesus,
have to
take the
really
wheel.
know how to manage.
You do have to
your
know how to
finances,
manage.
your lifestyle, all these
Absolutely.
things.
But it makes it hard even if you're managing your lifestyle, because if you go for 6 months and nobody has paid you, you know, when you get this, when you do finally get, yes, it's in a lump sum, you've got all the bills that you haven't paid for 6 months. So you're back at square one because
Yeah.
you had to pay all these other bills. But
Yeah.
I decided that I wanted to do something that I was so passionate about, because my friends and family kept saying, but Wangeci, why can't you do something for us? I mean, why are we always begging you, you know? So I said, okay. So I said,
So
I
begging
needed
you to make something?
to make them
'Cause
something,
I know
whatever.
that your family members are like, oh, she makes the most amazing this or that, but we have to just
I know my brothers are like,
wait.
open a restaurant. We will support you. I'm like, that's the last thing I would ever do is open a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because then, you know, you'd lose your passion for
Yeah.
cooking. Because then you have to do operations and, you know, stock take and all of these other things, logistics. I'm just thinking,
And you can't just be creative in the spur of the moment.
you
you have the menu.
exactly. That's true. I mean, there's ways around that.
Yes.
So what I did is that Picnic Kikapu started because and this was in 2011, I said I've had this of not getting paid.
Wait, 14 years?
Yes, that's when Picnic Kikapu started.
Oh my goodness.
So, so I decided when people are during that time, when you're going for funerals or you're going on road trips, etc., you don't have any food. You stop in the middle of, and you're thinking, you're in the middle of nowhere and you're like, where are we going to eat? You've got a 10-hour journey. You're coming to Kampala or you're coming to Entebbe,
You
all
find
the way
some
from Nairobi,
little
and you're thinking,
roadside restaurant,
exactly.
and then you're praying that no
you're
one
praying
gets
to
sick.
God nothing happens to you. And so that's how Picnic Kikapu was born.
Oh.
Is that I would make sandwiches. I would make, you know, you'd have tiered menus where it's just a sandwich and water. And then, you know, it goes up to a salad. And then, so people would do it for baby showers, bridal showers, where they'd order their picnic basket, which is Kikapu. And it has everything. It has a bottle of wine.
I'm throwing in the cheek.
It has
the Ugandan in me.
You know, exactly. No, it's okay. I was used to that when I was here. They're like, oh, Chikapu. I'm like, yeah, it's a Chikapu. So literally, that's how it was born. And then 6 months later, because it was not 6 months, slightly under 6 months, is because it was August 2011.
Okay.
So around November, one of my close friends who was a client who's now turned to one of my closest friends, she said to me, okay, I think that this creative side of you, I do gift hampers where I give my clients gift hampers every December. And I think that you
Yes.
could do that. I said, that's not what I do. I make sandwiches. What is wrong with you?
You
And
know,
she went,
this whole time, I thought you started with the corporate gift hampers.
nope. That's how it started.
So you even fought it.
I was like, please.
I don't wanna
Then
do that.
she's like, let me show you my budget.
Okay.
And then she showed me, but I said, people spend this amount of money on corporate gifts? Are you insane? And she said, no. I said, okay. I said, all right, I will do it, but I'll only do it for women because I understand women. She's like, you can't pick one and not the other. You have to get it done.
Yes.
I said, okay, no problem. So I started thinking about it. I said, you know what? Of course, I was driven by when I saw the finance, the amount of money that
I can work
I
on
can
this.
work with this budget. And that's how the corporate hamper started. And I remember that first year, I was so stressed out because it had to be perfect. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm never going to get them out in time. And literally, there were 72. And you would think that there are 1,000 of them, but there were only
But it's
72.
hard work, though.
Nobody wanted to work with me. They're like,
So
she's
you are
a
a perfectionist.
monster. She's a monster. I remember my late sister saying, I'm not working with her. She's a monster.
So you wanted every basket to look exactly the same.
And I remember when they were finally delivered, one thing with my gift hampers, my corporate hampers, because they are luxury gift hampers, they
Yes.
start at a certain amount. Nobody sees them until they're delivered.
Okay.
So my client, her partners were like, how can you give this thing to Wangeci? We don't even know what it's going to look. She said, if it doesn't work, blame me and I'll
on
pay for
me.
it.
Okay.
But I believe she's going to get it done. And I remember most of their clients called them and said, this is fantastic. And so it started to grow.
Yeah.
It started to grow. And by October of every year, I was sold out because I would only do 200. I wouldn't do more than 200.
It's a lot of work.
It is. But not even that, because I wanted to keep it as a niche. And it is a niche product.
Yeah, you did
because,
say.
you know, I travel all over the world to be able to have different themes. So it's never the same. And again, nobody ever sees them until they're delivered.
Okay.
But the clients
You've
that I
managed
have,
to maintain that all this time?
I didn't So what happened was, as you know, when my sister passed away in 2018,
Yes.
my life fell apart. I fell apart, and that's actually one of the reasons why I came to Uganda. It was to heal because my life took a tumble, and I didn't want to do anything. I barely got out of bed.
Yeah.
So I quit. I quit everything that I knew. That's how I
So you
quit
left everything behind.
Kikapu. I left everything behind. I didn't want to. I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And so I quit from 2018, and then I started again when I got to Kenya in 2023. One of my clients bumped into me, and she says, "Oh, you're back." I said, "I am." She says, "Are you doing the gifts?" I said, "I'm not." And she says, "You are." And it's like word got around, and
you were
four
back.
of my clients who had not done gift hampers in the 6 years that I hadn't done it said, "I'm glad you're back. Can we get back on the horse?"
Oh my goodness.
Yep. And so when the other clients now heard in 2014, I did their hampers as well. The same ones. They hadn't done hampers in 6 years. The time that I had been away.
That is a huge compliment.
It
to
is. It is. It really is. So now, yes, I do it, but I only do it in December. Of course, I get one or two. My close
Do you
friends who will
still
come
do
to
only
me.
200, or are you a little more flexible?
No, I'm not flexible. But even now, I haven't gotten to the 200.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, this last time, I think I did 100.
Okay.
I did 100. So, what do you call it? So yeah, those clients are still with me, and they're still happy with their gifts. I haven't had any complaints, and so I look forward to what 2025. I'm actually quite excited because I've already put together the package.
Okay.
And yeah, usually by October 15th, I'm sold out.
My goodness, and it's July now.
It's July.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
you mentioned family.
Yes.
And I know what it's like to have family members. They're like, when are you going to make this again?
Exactly.
When are you going to make that again? And you're like,
Yeah, I mean, like, oh my God.
Now.
Yes.
Yes. So the Nut and Honey Company,
Yes.
that started after the hampers, was it?
Yeah, it started after the hampers. So what happens is also when you start to do something, it's all over the world. I'm not going to say that it's only Africa. You find more and more people start doing what you're doing. And so some of my other clients started saying that, "Oh no, I can get this cheaper," and I'm like, You're welcome to do that, but I'm not going to. I mean, I'm importing things from Harrods. I'm importing things from Fortnum and Mason, and and you're telling me that your budget is like, say, 45,000. I'm like, the basket doesn't even cost 45,000, but you want me to? I'm like, it's not for me. So what I did is I decided to create things that go into hampers.
Okay.
And that's how Nuts and Honey was born, so that I can, spread
Put
it
in
about.
Your own unique.
Exactly. So that
products.
whoever's also got gift hamper businesses, they can literally take the honey and put it in there because it's infused honey, and there was nothing like it when I was doing it.
The first time I saw your products, I was like, infused honey? Infused
Yes.
With, I think there was bourbon.
Yes, there's a whiskey, there's whiskey honey, there's chili and
chili,
walnut. In fact, those are my two top sellers. And then while you're trying to do the different things, there's rosemary and toffee. Exactly.
I want to try that now.
Yeah, there's roasted red pepper. So there's an array of them.
Yes.
But it's also very intensive to be able, it's cash intensive because honey is not like sugar. You can make jam. Sugar is cheap.
Yes.
Cheap as chips.
Then if I remember, there was a challenge when you were trying to look for like really good quality honey at some point.
Exactly. But even when I was in Kenya, I was importing my honey from Uganda.
Oh.
Yes, from Uganda, Rwanda, and Congo. Yeah, because it's less sweet. I find that a lot of the honey that was in Kenya is also it's very sweet.
Okay.
But I will say that the best honey I have ever tasted was your mother's, her eucalyptus honey.
Oh my God!
I remember hoarding it. I really hoarded it. I mean, I wouldn't give it to, and then my mom found it, and then she distributed it amongst her friends. Most people don't understand the difference. You can taste it, and you're like, now this is honey. This doesn't have any addition. This doesn't have any molasses.
Pure.
This is pure. I mean, that is the best honey I have ever tasted.
I'm sure when she finds out.
I have told her on many occasions, like, Jaja, where's the honey?
I know.
Where's the honey? So yeah, that now has become seasonal. So I only do the honey.
When do you do that?
In
also
December.
Christmas?
Yes, only for Christmas. Okay. So you pre-order, and like I said, we've already started marinating the fruits and everything else that go, with the honey.
Okay.
Yes.
And then there's Jonathan's cookie dough.
Jonathan's cookie dough.
Now I know your nephew on one side, your other nephew.
Exactly.
But the original Jonathan, I know, is your father.
Jonathan is my late father.
Yes.
And I didn't actually come up with the name. It was a friend of mine who, I started the cookie dough because I moved to the village.
Okay.
And the closest supermarket was like 9 kilometers away. And so because us old people don't sleep, we wake up between the hours of 2 and 4 o'clock. So I was always like, I need something to eat. I need something, something sweet.
Yeah.
And so one day at 3 o'clock in the morning, I said, you know what, I'm going to make cookies. So literally, because sometimes I do wake up and start cooking at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's color too.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning and there are cookies.
And there are cookies, or there's cake, or there's everything. And the funny thing is, I don't really have a sweet tooth. I'm more a savory person.
Oh.
But what I decided to do is that particular day I made cookies. And then I said, because I wonder what would happen if I just freeze the dough.
Yes.
Because I just want one cookie.
So you made the dough.
I made the dough, I baked one cookie, put the rest in the freezer, and I said, Bob's your uncle.
Okay.
So because living in the village, one would think that it's 10 hours away from Nairobi. It's literally 20 minutes from city center, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, so my brother comes to visit me, and he always very casually drops in at lunchtime, or tea time is when he comes to visit, because he always knows at his sister's house he's not going to starve.
Yes,
so
you'll make something.
There's always something. So there's always like frozen chicken pies or steak pies, So I also make those and I freeze them.
You make steak pies and chicken pies?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So
when am I coming to visit?
Please feel free. There's enough bedrooms. You can come and live. You can come and stay as long as you want. So I would always have those. So that's what I would. So one day my brother comes and then he's like, so I went into the kitchen, and then 10 minutes later I came out with a batch of cookies and some a steak pie. And he's looking at me, he's like, did you just make this? I'm like, yes. He's like, how did you do it? I said, it was frozen, and then I just put it in the oven from usually 7 to 12 minutes, which is what I've done, and here we are. He's like, so if I want some more cookies, because you've only baked me 2, can I have some more? I said, absolutely. And I went back into the kitchen, and I came back 10 minutes later with some cookies.
I'm hearing a theme here. A lot of times you're like, no. Somebody else is like, yes.
When you're a creative, the sad thing about it, and I think that's when, if you went to an interview and they ask you, what is your weakness? Everyone says, I'm a perfectionist. I assure you I am not. I'm not a perfectionist because I'm a creative. And I think that is my weakness.
Okay.
So what happens with creatives is that you get very easily bored. When you think things are not going fast enough, you pull out. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
And you've got so many ideas because you don't sleep. And it's almost like you want to get to them before somebody else does.
Yes.
So it's not always a good thing.
So you're always thinking about the next thing.
I already have 5 other things lined up as we speak. And I'm just thinking, no, just stick to these. And so that's how Jonathan's cookie dough was. And then one of my friends who used to live there, because
not Wangeci's cookie dough?
No, Jonathan's cookie dough.
So you said, how did you get to Jonathan?
So my friend, I was like, I'm going to call it cookie dough. So she came to visit with her son. That's the first time I knew that. I mean, I know it seems a bit naive that some children don't like chocolate. Yes. Her son doesn't like chocolate. It's like, what are you talking about? So he was picking out all the chocolate from the chocolate chip cookies. And I'm just thinking, what are you doing? He's like, I don't like chocolate. I'm like, which child doesn't like chocolate? And so we were in the US together at the same time. So she ate it and she says, Jesus, said, this is an American cookie. This is what I've been missing all this time. This is an American chocolate chip cookie. So she says, okay, Wangeci, because she's a marketing person. She says, I've got my camera, my phone camera, whatever, bring it out. Let's take photos. And she started taking photos and she says, we're going to do this. I said, yeah, okay, we're going to call it cookie dough. She says, what do you mean we're going to call it cookie dough?
You have to own it.
It's ridiculous. She's like, anybody could call it cookie dough. She says, okay, maybe we name it Barbara's cookie dough. And then she says, no, that's a little bit too emotional for you, my late sister.
Yes.
And then she says, but you and your dad were such besties. She's like, why don't we just call it Jonathan's cookie dough? So literally she's the one who actually picked the name.
Okay.
Jonathan's Cookie Dough. So that's how it was born, because I was already doing the flavored coffee.
Oh.
I was already doing the flavored coffee, which I'd started in 2017 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I had stopped when I stopped everything in 2018.
Did
So
that come from like a genuine love for coffee?
I love coffee. I do.
Coffee.
But what happened was, because for the gift hampers, I used to import
Yes.
coffee. I mean, which didn't even make sense, because coffee is from Kenya, Uganda. In fact, I just saw
Well,
that
now
right
it's
now.
more readily available.
Yeah, it was readily available then. We just didn't really know. You know, we were drinking
it?
instant.
Well,
We were drinking instant coffee.
you know what?
Yes,
You're
we
right.
were drinking instant
You're
coffee.
right.
Let's not lie. We were like, oh my God, this is so good. You know, and you're thinking, what? So, unless when we travel and you go, you know, to the leading
Yes.
coffee shops, etc., you're like, oh my God, I have a macchiato, like
know.
whatever. So I started the flavored coffee because, again, to put them in the gift hampers.
Yeah.
And of course, again, I quit in 2018. And then when I came back from Uganda, after I moved back from Uganda, again, people were like, Wangeci, where's the coffee? How, you know, the problem with you, Wangeci, is you introduce us to all of these things. You know, you're such a coconut. Coconut came from here, but it seems that it went back. The Ugandans call me a coconut because they say my ideas are way out there. You know, at first I was very offended, and I'm like, but if my standards seem to be a little bit higher, then it sounds like a you problem. Sounds like a you problem. It's got nothing to do with me. So the coconut in me, everyone was stopping me and telling me, where's the coffee? Where's the coffee? Where's the honey? Where's the honey? And I'm like, okay, honey, no. Coffee, yes.
Yes.
So I literally started doing the coffee in December 2024
Okay.
again. And it goes well. So right now I'm sitting tight.
So is most of your work, like, is your business online?
It is online.
Because I know you were doing, at some point you were doing like some pop-up bazaars and things.
You know, I've stopped. I even did bazaars here.
Yes,
I
remember
I did
that.
the farmers
I remember
markets
that.
in Kololo, in Bugolobi. I was doing the markets. I did it with Jessica of Good Glass.
Yeah.
So I did have farmers markets as well, and they were very receptive, by the way. But I find that if you can't tell, of course, everybody who's watching is thinking she's lying. I'm an introvert. I am.
I know you are, because
I
you don't
know.
like to be around people
I
for
don't.
very long.
I don't. It's not that I don't like people. It's the noise for me. It's too
noise.
much. It takes everything out of me. And so going to the farmers markets, it was taking everything out of me, because you have to be all bubbly, like, oh my God, would you like to taste some honey? And then you can always tell the buyers, and you can tell the ones who are not going to buy. They're like, oh my God, do you have a card? I'm thinking,
And the ones who aren't going to
stop
buy are the
wasting
ones
my card.
and they waste your time.
They waste your time and everything. And I was like, it was taking everything out of me.
Okay.
And so since I've been back to Kenya, I've tried one. And when I was done, I went home, took a shower, and slept for like 2 days. It took everything out of me. It's just, I can't do them anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I won't later on, maybe, but it's not for me.
So now you're online.
Now, literally, I have like a WhatsApp store.
Yeah. Okay.
And what I've decided to do is, especially now with the picnic Kikapu, is before, because I am a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to building an organization. And it's not an organization because you're one person. And like now when I'm in Uganda, it shuts down because it's one person. But at least this time I was prepared. So I had stock and everything. So people are still ordering. And I'm literally managing it when I'm here.
Okay.
So I have them delivered, I have the coffee delivered, and I've got the cookies delivered. So that's what I decided to do, is that I have an online, but basically a WhatsApp shop. So literally, of course, I'm on Instagram. You've seen me on Instagram.
Yes.
And what I've decided to do this time round with Picnic Kikapu, instead of having a website and farmers markets and everything, I'm going to do, after reading like Lean Startup, minimum viable product.
Okay.
So start and grow organically.
Yes.
So like, I haven't had, a photographer come and take the perfect photos. All the photos, like right now on Picnic Kikapu shop, are from my clients. They're the ones they've taken amazing photographs of the cookies that they've baked. They're like, Wangeci, imagine I'm baking at 2:00 in the morning and this is you.
Are you
They're like,
serious?
yes. And all the photos that are on Picnic Kikapu right now are from the customers.
Oh, wow.
So I've decided to grow organically that way. I don't have a website. I mean, I have one in the background, but it's not active. So I wanted to grow that when it's paying for itself, to be able to have that and to be able to connect it with payments and to have a full digitalized platform. The way like now Good Housekeeping Africa is digitalized. So this
Well,
is
it works. A lot of people, I mean, it really saves you on so many costs and up and down, the running around, the up and down. But I think a lot of people are using that business model, making sure everything is online, everything is digital.
But you know what? Maybe it's because it's my product or the kind of product that I have. The way I built my websites, because I'm the jack of all trades, I build all my websites myself. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know.
All right.
So my website, you can tell how many visitors you get.
Okay.
You can tell which page they were on the longest.
Yes,
You
yes,
can
yes.
tell, when they dumped their cart. And so you can go back and try to figure out why did they, get out of the cart? Why didn't they complete it?
Yes.
And some of them, because they've already put in their details, the details come to me. So I'll literally call them and say, why did you not go forward with it?
Okay, you
and
ask for
I'm
feedback.
for feedback. And I'm finding more and more, because of how many con men there are, a lot of people don't want to complete the transaction online because they're not sure that the product is going to get to them.
Oh, they've had bad experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah, people have been
So
burnt.
that's where the problem comes in, is that, so you ask yourself, do you want to digitalize? Because you're paying all this money to have your platform online because you have to pay someone to host it for you, but they don't complete the transaction. So what is it for?
Okay.
I've noted that. And that's why this time I decided to grow organically using like the WhatsApp shop, etc. I'm getting foot traffic on there, like quite a bit of foot traffic on there. But the website, even from before, you could see literally the people know what they want, but they'll still call you. Remember the
want to make
cookies?
sure
I
there's
want
a
the
person on the
cookies.
other
Yeah, you
side.
see the cookies on page 1. You see those chocolate ones. And then this coffee here. And you remember the pepper jam. And I want the pepper jam. And I'm like, so why don't you just click on it, go to the shop, and it's going to check you out. And because it's connected to a delivery service, they will deliver to you. They're like, no.
No. I can understand that. I mean, I do a lot of business on WhatsApp.
Yes.
WhatsApp businesses.
Exactly.
But I did have recently had a bad scare.
Yes.
Where I clicked on a hotel website.
Yes.
On the actual website.
Yes.
And it took me somewhere else.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, my money.
Exactly.
Thankfully, it was resolved.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess a lot of people have had bad experiences.
Yeah, it's just that they don't want to complete it. So they prefer to call you. Even now, when you've put WhatsApp shop, etc., these are the numbers, whatever, they'll still text. So where's the catalog?
But they say that, that's one of the things about us as Africans. We still want to know that there's another person on the other side.
Absolutely. And so for now, no, I'm not going to digitalize Picnic Kikapu for now.
Okay.
Until I see the traction.
But the website is still up.
No, it's not. It's not up.
So you took
it's
it
not.
down.
It's
so now it's
again,
the WhatsApp.
but it's built and everything.
Okay.
So literally, if I'm sitting here on my phone, I can make it go live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have already built it. It's ready to go. I just switch it to live, and it will be live within 10 minutes.
Because I'm thinking someone who might be watching right now, and they're thinking, wait, that honey.
Yes.
Well, we want to try it.
Yes.
What would they do?
Right now, they can't get it anyway because it's not December.
So you're keeping it for your clients?
Yeah, for December.
I'm beefing.
No, but
I'm beefing.
no. You're special. Don't worry. You'll get yours.
Okay.
There are actually people in Uganda who do buy the coffee and the honey.
Yes.
For their Christmas hampers.
Yes.
So obviously I have to get them ahead of time.
Okay.
So they get them in November. So there is some people here who do that. So literally, even now, anyone who's watching, if you do want it, if you go to the Picnic Kikapu shop on Instagram or Facebook, you can see what we have available. And you can text us, inbox, and we'll be like, of course, it's going to be a minimum quantity, the fact that we're bringing it across the border.
Yeah.
Like if we're coming into Uganda, there's going to be a minimum because it doesn't make sense for you to buy one jar or whatever. So even the people who buy it, it's a minimum of 12 jars, but you can mix and match.
Okay.
So 12 jars makes more sense for you,
Yes.
for us to then one jar. Really, my goodness, it doesn't make sense for you to be able to do that.
Okay.
Yes. So we
Understood.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've known about you is you've always been so open
Yes.
with what's going on in your life. And a conversation that you've had openly was grief.
Yes.
and you dealing with the loss of your sister and your father, very close to. I find that not many people open up about it, and yet you said like you fell apart.
Yep.
It was really, really rough, and it took quite a lot for you to kind of find your way
Yes.
again. What would you say for someone who, you know, went through that loss? How did you find your way back?
I don't know that you ever really find your way back. And that's the honest to God truth. I find it interesting that it's been 7 years. We just celebrated, not celebrate, but it's a celebration of life. 7 years since my sister passed away.
Yes.
And
Suddenly.
now, 8 out of 10 times I can say her name without crying. And this is 7 years. It's still very raw, and I think it's, there's no good time to pass away. You could be,
Yes.
you're young, you're old. Even when my father passed away, he was in his 70s, but still, the sadness is there.
Yes.
You see? But I think it's also because first it was such a tragic loss.
Yeah, it was a shock.
It was not just her life. It was the other 9 people who died in that plane crash with her. And I remember even when I was eulogizing or when I was giving my tribute or whatever, that's one of the things that I said is that, my sincere condolences to the other 9 people that were on that flight.
Yeah.
But grief is such an individual journey. Like my whole family, the way we grieved was very different. And I remember some of my closest friends couldn't understand the person that I had become. And I think that even now,
I feel like it changed you.
Totally. I'm a totally different person from the time that I lost my sister, because some of my friends just couldn't deal or handle the weak person that I became because I'm such a strong character. So you see, I've always been and it's somebody who actually explained it to me and said, you've always been the strong one in your relationships, but now they have to be strong for you, and they're not sure they know how to.
It's an unfamiliar
It's
dynamic.
unfamiliar territory for them.
Yes.
And so, they wanted it to go back to the way it was before, but it's not possible.
Yeah.
And so the more that I grieved, the more that I became a recluse. And so, like I said, I could barely get out of bed. I barely took a shower. The only times that I would get out of bed, literally, was when I was twice a week taking my father for dialysis because he was in renal failure. That's the only time that literally I would get up, take a shower, whatever, take him, and then, wait for him, sometimes sit by his bedside, or I'd go back home because it takes about 4.5 hours, 5 hours, come pick him up and take him home.
Yeah.
So he could literally see me falling apart. But I think the other part, I can say that apart from the Almighty, because I thought I was going to die from a broken heart, is 2 people saved me. My older brother Eric, who's Ugandan, and
Yes.
and my dad, because my father saw me deteriorating, and he was sick, and he knew that his time was limited, and he didn't want me to see him going through that. I think that's what it is. We never talked about it, but I believe that's what it was.
Okay.
So when he called Eric here, he says, I know that you need help within the organization, but you've got to save your sister. And literally Eric said, that's okay, send her. And that's how I feel they both saved my life.
Okay.
And when you have 2 people, Dad passed away literally a year and something, a year and a half after Barbara passed away.
Barbara.
Is that grief is different. The grieving that I did for my sister, I don't even think I've gotten to grieving my dad yet because I'm still grieving for my sister. But I talk more about my dad because when he was sick in the hospital and I flew from here to go and see him, I looked at him and I knew that the time was close. And, it got to a point where I was telling him, I started calling, because in the Kikuyu tradition, I'm named after his mother.
Okay.
So what I would do is I'd call him my son. And I started telling him, my son, Jonathan, it's time to let go. It's okay. It's time to go. We're okay.
So you could tell that he was holding on.
Yes, he was holding on
you.
for us. And so I kept telling him, I said, Jonathan, it's okay. My son, it's okay. And, my family wasn't ready. And one of my close friends said to me, Wangeci, you were unfair to your family because you were ready and they were not. Because they were telling dad, fight so that we can take you, like to India, or we take him back to South Africa or whatever for treatment. But I was saying, to me, I kept telling them, guys, let him rest. He's done. He's fought a good, he has fought a good long time for us.
Yeah.
The pain that he's in, you've got to let him go. So yes, I was selfish and I apologized to my family for that.
Oh, wow.
That I wasn't ready to let him go, but I was ready to let the pain that he was going through for him to let go.
Oh, yeah.
So the last week before he passed away, I ran away because I knew that this was it. But nobody else could see it. But because there's a couple of nights that I was left with him in the hospital, he didn't know I was there. So I was hiding. I could tell that things were not good. And, so I ran away. And the thing is, they say grief manifests itself in very different ways, because I got on a plane on a Monday and I said, I told him, Dad, I love you to the moon and back. But I knew I would never see him alive again.
So
I knew.
You said your goodbye.
I said my goodbye and I got on a plane and I left. But when I got here to Kampala, I never made it to the office the entire week because I had food poisoning and my whole body started reacting. So I think and then, when I spoke to the grief counselor, it said your body started grieving.
Yes.
So my father passed away exactly a week to the day, that next following Monday. And social media is such an interesting thing because it almost seems like people want to be the first ones to tell you, Pole sana, my condolences or whatever, because for the first time ever, I didn't switch off my phone when I was flying, because that Monday morning, my younger brother called us, Eric and I, and said, okay, guys, it's time, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we quickly wanted to get on a flight. I was like, no, I've got to hand over. Eric is looking at me like, what do you mean you've got to just get on the plane and go? Of course, the flight was delayed. But I knew in my heart that he had passed away. But you see, you always want, as a family, you want to be the one to tell somebody, or you want to tell them when they're on the ground or when they're not alone. You don't want to tell them when they're alone. But because I had already made peace with, I knew in my heart that when they're calling us, that this guy has checked out.
Yeah.
And nobody would tell me that. So
they're waiting for you to arrive.
They're waiting for me to arrive. But social media doesn't allow that. Because when I was coming to land, I started getting the condolence messages. So when I landed, I remember now my phone started ringing and my brother George is frantic. He's like, where are you? I said, we've just landed. Yeah. He's like, okay. I said, so am I coming to the morgue? He said, what do you mean you're coming to the morgue? You're coming to the hospital. I'm like, okay, if we're going to play this game, let's play the game. At this point, you know how you hysterically laugh because you're thinking to yourself, I'm not a moron.
I
know.
And chances are, I know.
I know, and in my heart, I knew, I knew or whatever. But between the airport and, it got to a point where he was so frustrated with me. I'm thinking, do you know Nairobi traffic? What do you want me to do? We just got out of the airport. And so when my closest friend picked me up, because she called me, she called me, she says, where are you? And and when I was in Entebbe at the airport, she's like, where are you? I said, I'm at the airport. She says, why are you at the airport? See, I said, I think my father has passed away, but these people are not. They're pretending that I don't know. She says, what? So I knew she didn't know.
Oh.
By her reaction, I knew she didn't know.
Okay.
So she said, let me call you back. So she called me back and she says, okay, so I'm going to pick you up from the airport. I said, why? I said, by the time I land, it's 4:00. Do you know the traffic on Mombasa Road? Well, I said, I'll take an Uber. I'm coming to the hospital. Says, would you rather be stuck in an Uber with some guy you don't know, or do you want to be stuck in a car with me? I said, I want to be stuck in a car with you. I said, okay. So when I met her, again, the phone calls are coming. So my brother's closest friend calls me and he says, Wangeci, where are you? I said, you people are stressing me out. Am I coming to the morgue? He said, you're coming to the hospital. What is this about the morgue? So I hung up and then I turned over to my friend. I said, so why are these people pretending that my father has not passed away? She says, have you spoken to George? I said, no. I said, I have, but she says, okay. By that I knew. She says, okay, he passed away 2 hours ago. I said, okay, okay, so are we going to the morgue? She said, no, they want you to see him in the hospital.
In the hospital.
Which was good.
before.
And
Yeah.
I thank God for that.
Yeah.
Because we had so much support.
Yes.
When I got there, I kid you not, there were over 100 people who had waited for me for over 6 hours because they had seen what a mess I was when my sister passed away. So they were there to support the family and to support me. But this time they found a different person. I was like, okay, all right. So and I literally said, where's Jonathan? You know, where's Dad?
Oh my God.
Because I think they were
She's
thinking,
not okay.
yeah, they were like, she's gone crazy. Something's happened. And I remember them saying, whispering, they're like, is she okay? Is she okay? And this time, and that's why I say that
Grief
whoever's
is so
going through
different,
grief,
yeah.
your grief is different. It really is.
Even how you grieve yeah. Okay.
Because we just celebrated 7 years, this is the first time my stepmother and I have ever had a discussion about the events of what happened. In 7 years, we've never discussed it. So this time when we went to lay flowers on her grave as well as Dad's, it was just the two of us for almost 3 hours for the first time. We talked about it. And I didn't know the way the events folded because we'd never talked about it, because it's such a painful thing, you know, even for my stepmom to say, you know, I'm not a parent. You know how you say, oh, I can imagine. You can't imagine. And, you know, and I look at her and I think of her and other mothers and fathers who've lost their children, and I can't imagine. And she says, it's like a piece of you has been ripped out of your body.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm glad we had that conversation. She feels, and you know, she was saying to me, I feel like if we talk about her, that, you know, we're disturbing her or something. You know, she couldn't explain it, and I couldn't explain it either. But I remember before my father passed away, I don't know why, I was in charge of Barbara's grave. So I was taking Dad to where we were, where the guys were digging the grave, etc.
Yeah.
The grave diggers. And I remember we were driving there, and we had just come from a dialysis session, and he said to me, I've had friends who've lost their children, and I always tell them it's God's will, it is well. He said, I will never say that to another grieving parent.
That's a good point, because that's what most people say.
Because they don't know what to say.
Yeah.
We don't know what to
But
say.
that's very painful.
Yes.
And
And
someone is very young and their life is ahead of them. And
yeah. And he literally said to me, he said, my heart hurts so much I could die. You know, and when you see your father, grown man, you know, men don't cry. My father didn't cry in front of me at that time. Of course, he maintained and was trying to be strong for all of us. But you could literally see him just fade away.
yeah.
Like literally. So anyone who's going through grief, I feel as Africans, it's as if the world looks at us like we're such strong people that we're not supposed to grieve, and we're not supposed to, that we dust it off our
Supposed
shoulders.
to pick yourself
up and move on. And you know, in fact, I find that Ugandans, and I don't know if it's because you guys do it so quickly. You know, us, it's like a week. And other people like 2 weeks.
Yes.
You guys within 3 days,
3 days.
whatever. I almost find that you guys move on so quickly. It shocks me. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like literally, it just, you know, it's almost as if, okay, the person was alive. We celebrated their life. Even like, you know, when you go to Lumbe's or whatever, and, you know, you have a beer, you have a glass of wine, etc., and you celebrate the person's life. So we drink tea and eat mandazi. So we don't have a wake like that.
No,
we don't have a
right.
Lumbe. You know,
You're
you
right.
guys, in fact, it shocks me. I'm like, you guys are not grieving. I always find that, so being here and having gone for Lumbe's here or whatever, and I'm just finding it, I'm like, this is a celebration of life, but man, it seems a little brutal. Like, ouch.
It's so different.
It's so different. But everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
I remember speaking to one of my brother's closest friends, and he told me, he says, Wangeci, do you find yourself stopping by the roadside just to cry? I'm like, yeah. You're driving and literally
Yes.
you cannot hold it back anymore. And you just bawl and you stop by the roadside. I remember one time my brother called me. He's like, where you are? Where are you? I said, I don't know. He's like, stop on the side of the road. I'm like, yeah. He says, what's? I said, he's like, wait for me. I'm coming. When I looked around and I said where I was, whatever. And he came and, gave me a big hug. We went for lunch. And grief is an individual thing.
Yeah.
And I think the more that you talk about it, don't hold it in.
The
and,
easier it gets.
And don't let other people shame you into thinking to yourself that you're grieving too long or you're grieving too
there's
hard,
no
which is what some
timeline.
people said to me, or whatever. It's
Oh.
take your time. If you want to cry like right now, I could cry because I'm grieving the love that I have that has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Yes, and I miss them. My father was such a wise man. Or my sister who was like me, food. She was a foodie. We would share recipes. She took the most amazing photographs of food and everything and loves to eat. And before, we used to joke because her and my other brother, George, they couldn't even boil eggs. I mean, they couldn't. They couldn't. If you left them in a house together, they would have starved.
The love for food can make you do amazing things.
She became a fantastic cook. French toast, chicken pies. I was like, oh my goodness, she totally changed. My younger sister as well, though. My younger sister, though, she's very busy and she's a bit of an introvert. Not a bit. Kiju is an introvert. Yeah, she is.
She is.
She's an introvert. But she knows she's a new mom. She's got 2 beautiful children. She had her wedding as well in Cape Town last year.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not last year. It's 2020.
It's
You in
the year
2025.
before, right?
Exactly. So yeah, she's an amazing child. Our age gap. I'm always complaining to both my mother and my mother. Yani, this sister of mine, she can never just pick up the phone and just call me and say, Wangeci, how are you? How are you doing? If I send her a message, 3 months, she won't even read it.
Oh,
So I have to go through my stepmom and say, can you tell Kijo? Or even, or her husband, I'm like, Isaac, where's your wife? He's like,
So
she's
she's
here.
bad with her
And
phone.
She's just bad with her phone and it drives me insane. I'm Gen X. She's a millennial. It's
No, they're just some people who are just bad.
yeah, she's just bad.
Bad.
She really is.
You have a nephew like that.
Yeah,
Just bad with
not,
their phone.
It's not one. There are 2 of them. They are just 2. But I have the most amazing relationship with them. They're my heart.
So, I guess some people are like, but wait a minute. Good Housekeeping Africa.
Yes.
Domestic workers, the relationship between employers and domestic workers. How does that tie into all these other things?
You see, it's that creative thing of mine. That is the
is
problem.
that
So that actually started when I was here in Uganda.
Okay.
It's something I've been thinking about for a long time. I don't like the way employers treat domestic workers. So this is not a today's story. This is a 30, 40 year story.
You've been talking about it for a long time. And we sometimes forget that we're very privileged.
Yes.
In Africa.
Absolutely.
To be able to have
Yes.
domestic workers pretty much no matter what your budget is.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Most people can still manage to employ someone. But that's
they
where
can
the problem
manage, but
is.
should they?
Yeah, that's the thing. Of
Yes.
course, they're paying peanuts. It's
So-
not the most ideal situation, but it is a privilege.
It is a privilege. And so I've never liked the way domestic workers are treated. I don't like it.
Okay.
And so it's
Do you
something.
remember any story in particular that really stood out for you and you felt this is such an injustice? Or was it just
it's across
different
the board.
things you kept seeing?
Different things I kept seeing. And then we were here, the lockdown. And, our president in Uganda really locked us down. Like, we were locked down. Not like these other ones who were allowed to drive. We weren't even allowed to know. But, I think he saved us.
You think so?
He did. And I think it's because of what you guys had gone through before with the diseases that you've had before,
Yes.
etc., and maintaining them. I truly believe he saved us.
Okay.
I think we'd have had a lot more people who passed away had we actually just been allowed
out and
to
about as
out
usual.
and about. So what happened was now we are locked in the house. Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't mind cooking and cleaning.
Uh-huh.
Laundry. I remember having to wash a towel. Not because we didn't have enough towels. I did it for like 2 minutes. I said, oh my God, my back was hurting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, my nails, what's going on? I'm like, this is hard work. So literally, this is what I did. Thank God it was mine. I washed my feet. I put the towel in a bucket and I started stomping on it because that's the only way I knew how to wash it. Because we didn't have a washing machine connected to that house.
Yes.
And I said, we need to appreciate these people who work for us and do this, whatever. And
Imagine I have a pile of jeans, a pile of bed sheets, a pile of towels.
Exactly. I tried to wash sheets. I said, I'm going to sleep without sheets. Because really now, we have gone through 5 weeks of nobody coming to help us or
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
And I started having a different kind of appreciation
Yeah.
for what our domestic workers do for us. So there in 2021, I sent the survey. I remember, I think you filled out the survey.
Yes.
But the survey, which was actually very good, I got over 100 and I think 105 or 106 responses.
Yes.
There were like 3 men. Everybody else was a woman. But the results shocked me.
Okay. In what way?
Literally people who have got 7 people in the house, plus animals, 1 domestic worker. She works from 5 in the morning to 11 at night.
Yeah.
They pay her late. They pay her 100K. You know, some of those responses for me were heartbreaking.
Some of them, like a simple mistake, broken plate, broken glass.
Fired, beaten, domestic violence.
Yes.
Literally, it's domestic violence.
Some people treat their domestic workers like their children.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart. And right there is when I decided that this is the hill I'm going to die on. And that's how Good Housekeeping Africa was born. And I remember working, when I was working here, my team, my colleagues, were the ones who even came up with a color scheme. We came up with a logo, I asked their advice, we voted on it, etc. And literally that's how Good Housekeeping Africa was born.
Because what you're saying about the towel experience and the bed sheets, I think many of us don't appreciate them truly
Yes.
until they leave.
Yep.
Or they go for those 2 weeks for Christmas.
And you
or
feel like you want to
whatever,
die.
And it's you, your house, your children.
Yes.
You have to cook, and you're like, oh my God.
Exactly.
This person is so wonderful. I
Exactly.
will never, ever take them for granted again.
Absolutely, until
But
they come back.
Nature
Absolutely.
is, human nature is you will take people for granted.
Of course.
Unless, look at the workplace
Yes,
environment.
yes.
We have labor laws.
Absolutely.
Because human beings will be human beings.
Absolutely.
But it's very loose when it comes to our domestic workers.
It's because domestic workers work in our private homes. So there's no, even if they go to labor, can you actually prove it? When you're in a white collar job in an office in the middle of, Bugalobi or Kololo or wherever it is that you have your office,
Yeah.
people can see how a person is being treated or mistreated. But this is my private home. Whatever I do is inside my 4 walls. What are you going to do about it?
And many people misbehave.
Yes, they do.
I still remember a relative, I won't say who, but a relative many years ago. She had 2 children.
Yes.
She was working in a company, traveled, explored, well educated.
Yes.
And she got a 9-year-old. A 9-year-old to come and run her home. And she was angry because she had broken, I don't know, something. And I just remember being horrified. I'm like, how? You know better. How can you get a 9-year-old? Someone is barely older than your own children.
Let me ask you a question. Do you remember when you were 9? Me, I was a brat.
I
9 to 12,
I was
13.
climbing trees.
I was playing. When, of course, my teenager, I was slamming the door in my mother's face or whatever. I was not a grown-up. I'm a child.
Yeah.
And you're expecting that this child is supposed to clean, supposed to babysit, supposed to cook, supposed to do all of these things, etc.
Run a home.
Run your home for you. I mean, what kind of human being are you? And the statistics are very bad because, especially here in Uganda, and that's why Good Housekeeping Africa started in Uganda. There was a survey done because there hasn't been any, the information is sketchy when you do the research or whatever. In 2015, I think it was 2015, they did research and showed that out of the domestic workers that they had, and they still didn't have a number, 500,000 of them were children.
Yeah.
And of those children, 57% of those 500,000 were girls. And
Yeah.
so for the purposes of when I'm talking about Good Housekeeping Africa, I always talk about the girls or the ladies,
Yeah.
simply because 76% of domestic workers worldwide are women. Right? Now, it's a very uncomfortable conversation to have.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking about the fact that I don't think you know how to run your home.
Yes.
Now,
And you're calling people out.
I'm calling people out on their BS, right?
Yes.
Now, don't take it personally. You know why? We all learned how to run our homes from our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunts, our peers, right? But what makes you think that that's the right way to do it?
True.
When we go into a white collar job, like I remember my last job in the US, it took like 3 months of training, and not because I'm a moron, and not because I'm not intelligent, but because they wanted me to know everything, that the day I get on the phone and talk to somebody, I'm going to understand what we're talking about, and I know which department to send them to, and I can touch on every little subject.
Yes.
Right? So why can't you do the same? So when a domestic worker comes to your home, you assume that they know how to flush the toilet.
They don't
You assume
give you
they know
like
how
a proper orientation.
Absolutely,
training.
you
This is how
don't.
you do this. This is how you do that. And it doesn't mean they're going to get it the first time.
Absolutely. How long did it take us to learn how that I can remember? But I'm sure I used to look at her and be like, this squeeze needs to be serious. You just taught me yesterday. And today you expect me to know how to tie this shoelace.
Or the patience that is required as a parent when you're watching and they're like,
Exactly.
and you want to say not like that, but you're like, no, I have to let them learn. I have to let them learn.
And don't forget, the domestic worker, each domestic worker that comes, there are like 5 different ways of tying a shoelace. Each one of them could be different.
Yeah.
So when this particular one comes, she's going to chapa your child because she doesn't know how to tie it that way and knows how to chapa it, to tie it a different way. So she's like, what are you doing? And they chapa. Because to them, you're doing it the wrong way. But don't take it personal. I believe that 50 to 60% of the problems domestic workers have, or creating a harmonious and functional work environment at home, it's us. We're the problem.
Yeah.
We're not having proper schedules. We're not having a proper, orientation. And because you're so busy, really? This person is taking care of your most prized possession.
Yeah.
But you would be surprised that when you ask somebody what their most prized possession is in their house, they tell you their TV, their music, their whatever. They're not thinking about their children. Honestly, they're not. Because you ask them, so what's your most prized? Yeah, my 55-inch TV. You know, I've got my.
I guess they're like my children. I don't know.
Exactly. So they're like, to them, it's not a given. Because they're thinking, my child, of course, is the most, important person or important thing in my house. Is the most prized possession. But then there's some people who don't think like that. And there are those people who, I literally had a conversation with a lady in Uganda because she was telling me, no, me, I chapa my domestic workers.
How do
I
you
don't
chapa someone
understand.
else's child?
Exactly.
I mean, you're not even really supposed to chapa your own.
Exactly. Well, okay, no. We didn't turn out so bad. We have trauma.
Okay, we were chapped.
Yeah, we were. Ooh, our parents were.
But
Our
okay,
parents were terrorists. Ooh, our parents were terrorists.
You negotiate.
No, now it's called
what's
what is
positive?
it? Quiet? No, quiet parenting, quiet something like that. I'm like,
that
what?
one we don't know.
I'm like,
But positive discipline.
Yes.
There are great ways of going about it. But how do you employ someone?
Yes.
And you think you have a right to lay your hands on this person?
I'll give you a bit of background. When I first started Good Housekeeping Africa, my customer base was men.
Oh, okay.
Yes. The men were coming to me because they didn't want to tell their wives that they have come to me.
Wait. I'm thinking men who need someone, a housekeeper, to run their homes for them.
Their problem was there was 2 scenarios.
They couldn't tell their wives.
They couldn't tell their wives that they believe that they are the problem in the home because they've gone through 6 domestic workers in 6 months. So, and I say this for somebody obviously who doesn't have kids or, I live alone. Imagine if you've got 6 different people who've come.
Yeah.
Your children are at an age where they consume information
Yes.
and consume things. Each person who comes into your home is coming with different integrity, lack thereof, ethics, lack thereof. They don't know love. They don't know all of these things. There's so many things that they're bringing, and each person comes with their own things.
Different background,
different objectives,
upbringing.
different etc. Now imagine, don't you believe you're traumatizing your child?
Yeah.
And so this lady I was speaking to, I said, because she proudly told me how she's already had 6 or 7 in the last 7 months or whatever.
Yes.
And then I said, don't you think you're traumatizing your child? She says, when they get to the age where they need therapy, I'll take them for therapy.
No
And I was
way.
offended. I couldn't, I truly couldn't understand.
But I have to say, I mean, I have sat in conversations, been part of conversations where people are talking about their help at home.
Yes.
And there's so many women who are like, I used to be so nice. I used to be so kind. Now I'm like this. I'm
Yes.
military.
Yes.
It does not work.
But
and
even
yet you're
military-
forgetting this is a new person who should not suffer
For the past deeds.
for the past deed.
When we're getting into relationships, we're always told don't carry the baggage of the old relationship, right?
And this is a relationship.
And this is a relationship, right? So you come, you get a poor girl from the village. Okay, this time she's not 12, she's 19. Yay.
Yeah.
So she comes, but you've had 3 others. Who showed you, Shege? They've showed you problems, character development, right?
Yes.
But you take it out on this 19-year-old who's fresh, new, fresh off the boat, so to
Yes,
speak, right?
Yes.
You're teaching her, and you're teaching her in like half a day, and she's supposed to know everything in that half a day.
Right.
Then she comes home, and because she's afraid, she's literally shaking because she's afraid of you. She drops a cup, you slap her. Right?
That's how the relationship begins.
That's how the relationship begins. You tell me in 6 months how it's going to be.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things you said that really, really stuck with me in the early days, I think when you had just started doing your videos
Yes.
on Instagram or
Yes.
sharing, you said every one of us
Yes.
we have hopes and dreams.
Yes.
You, in 5 years, you want to do this.
Yes.
In 10 years, you
Yes.
want to do that.
Yes.
Why do we think that the people that come and work in our homes do not also have hopes and dreams? That stuck with me. I was like, oh my God, yes. Because people get so upset. Even if a work has been with them for years,
Absolutely.
has been wonderful, and says, I want to leave. How
What do you
dare
mean?
they?
I mean, how dare they? Do you know what I've done for them?
This is not your slave.
Absolutely. She or he wants better. And that's, we misconstrue the fact that we're not there yet.
Yeah.
We're not at the point where in the Western world, you trying to get a full-time domestic worker, and they come from 8 to 5, it's like an 8 to 5 job, is $60,000, $70,000 a year. We're
Yeah.
not there yet. It's
Yes.
not a career. But there are people who want to run homes.
Yeah.
And they want to be housekeepers, but they want to be house managers.
Professional housekeepers.
Professional housekeepers, and they're there. The one who will drive your kids to school. The ones who will drive them to the hospital. The ones who will go, and because they're with them all the time, they can measure their school uniform and know what to buy.
Yeah.
They take over the things that you find menial. And so that you can be the best version of yourself. A domestic worker is coming in to help you be the person that you're supposed to be as a woman, even climbing the ladder before you hit the glass ceiling. So
Or even if you're not working, just to help you so you're not overwhelmed.
yeah, she's house help, not
Yes.
do everything.
Yes.
And what I find a bit of, I don't know what word I want to use without offending anybody, but we are always talking about women empowerment. Women empowerment. We have seminars across the world about women empowerment. And, we go for seminars and we have conferences and we are dressed well and we're given a theme and we're told this is how we have to dress because we're going to vote for Angie to be, lady president of this chairperson, right?
Yes.
When is the
Even
last
business women, entrepreneurs, teachers, every profession.
When is the last time
But-
we decided that we were going to empower the women that work for us?
I think people get scared.
Yes, what is
like-
women empowerment? Why is it that we can't take a domestic worker? It doesn't mean that we're going to start when we are 3 months, because we also don't know what her motives are. And we don't know that she's going to stay there for even a year, 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Why can't you, for instance, you ask her, what do you want to do? There's one who I had, we still talk. Almost all my domestic workers, by the way, they always buy me gifts even after I've left. And wherever I am, they're like, oh, I guess where are you? I want to send you something. I saw this thing that has to do with honey and I'm sending it to you. When was the last time we went ahead and did something for our domestic workers? So you go and you ask her, what do you want to do? I want to be a baker. Okay. I am going to take some money out of your salary every month, right? And I'm going to pay for you to go and be a baker. And what I'm going to do as you start your business, we are going to partner in this business, right?
Okay.
And when the money comes, I'm going to hopefully that the person is financially, what do you call it, of sound mind, that they know what to do with investments and stuff.
Yeah.
That they tell them that, you know what, we're even going to go and see an investor. I mean, we're going to go to the bank and figure out how we're going to invest this money for you to be able to do this, right?
Yeah.
And you start on Saturdays, you bake cakes, bake cupcakes, let her sell them. You're in the business together, but you're elevating her status so that
That's how it should be.
so you've given
Ideally.
up, she's given up her family to raise yours,
Thank you.
right?
She's
And yes,
actually
it's a
given up a
choice.
bit of her life.
Yes, and it's a choice, and I
Because
understand.
she may not have the advantages, the privilege that you have.
And my father always used to say, I don't know why you women are so mean to domestic workers, because they have the same body parts. They're exactly like you. The only difference is you had opportunities that they didn't.
True.
Right?
We're all women.
So, when I say and I hear about women empowerment, who are we empowering that is not at the same level as we are?
That's a great,
That
great
you can
point.
actually say to yourself, you know what? I helped do that.
It should be every woman.
Yeah, it should be every woman.
But
take one person, one.
I know that when I've had these conversations,
Yes.
people are like, but it's one-sided. They also do this.
It's
they
true.
also do that.
It's
and they've
true.
also, and they can be bad people. And
100%.
how do you handle that?
It is a communication. When I have OCD.
Yeah.
So even when I don't have a full-time domestic worker, she comes in maybe once or twice a week, and that's to do laundry. We know that
We shall not suffer.
I'm not very good at that. But when she comes, she even says to me, I don't know why I come, because this house is cleaner than when I left it. You know what I mean? Because I'm really anal about that, right?
Yeah.
But when you first come to work for me, yes, I don't sweat the small stuff. You're going to break a glass. I break glasses all the time. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that you should break a glass every day. Of course, because then it means that there's a problem.
Yes.
You've got butterfingers and I shouldn't allow you around my dishes. And especially because my kitchen is my happy place,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I know everything that's in my kitchen. So I will tell you, I don't hide anything in my house. Okay? If you want to steal, you go ahead and steal whatever you want. If it's going to make your life better, you feel it's going to make your life better, and you feel that you're not going to be guilty or feel guilty about it. However, if I catch you, I will have you jailed.
Okay.
Apart from 2 who I didn't threaten before, I was in my 20s. Yes.
Yes.
I can honestly say, to my knowledge,
Having that conversation right at the start has
I
helped.
have not lost anything.
Okay.
And of course, living alone, when you come into your house, you can look and see what's missing. You know, literally, I can walk into my walk-in closet and I'll look and I'll be like, that jacket's moved, or why did it move, or whatever. And, you know, she'll tell me I was cleaning and I'd taken everything out or whatever. I can tell the carpet's been moved. I can tell the glasses have been shifted from here to there. Now, it doesn't mean that they haven't taken 1 or 2 things, you know,
Yes,
etc. Because
something.
I'm sure that they have.
I have a feeling they're like, you know, this stuff is never used.
It's never used. She's not
Does she
going to
even know it's
notice.
there?
The one thing I will notice in my kitchen, I will notice even if a plate is missing. That one, the wardrobe, I always tell them, if you want to take I said, this kitchen, don't mess with my kitchen.
And it doesn't mean that just because someone has a lot,
Exactly.
it should be taken.
Absolutely,
But
because
I can
it's mine.
imagine that might be the mindset that there's so much.
Yes, there's so much. And I
Sometimes.
even let them clean when I'm not there. Even like now when I'm out of the country, she's going to clean. And I'm like, okay, you do you. And like I said, I will have you jailed. And I think it's the communication when I'm hiring a domestic worker, and I've been telling people that, yes, I know we can't do proper references in Africa. We don't.
Yes.
Because people lie. And, you know, it's not like the US where you're going to put in your social security number and they can tell. And even when you call offices to give references, they'll not tell you that person was a thief. It's against the law. They'll just, you know, we as HR with an HR background, I will ask you questions where I will tell that you're lying to me. And one of the questions I'll ask you is, if you had an opportunity to hire them again, would you? And you tell me no.
And then you know there's
Then
a
I know
problem
that there's
there.
a problem. So when I built my website, there are certain things that I did in my website and my platform. Is that for Kenya now? I mean, if you call me and you're from Uganda and you want to do verification, I do that in the background for you. But for Kenya, you can literally do your ID verification just so that you can know that the person who gave you this ID is actually the person who is working in your home.
Okay.
It's very good for you to verify because we just take for granted that, your mom got a girl from the village, etc. And you say, oh, I know her parents.
Yes.
But do you really, even when you go to an agent and they say, yeah, I know her parents very well. Really? Out of the 500 girls that are working there, you know all their parents? Those are a lot of people that you know.
And those are the things they
We don't think about it. They're like, I know her. She's a good
I know her
girl.
village. In fact,
In
I
her
have 5 girls from the
Exactly. Exactly. They don't know them. We are lying. Let's call a spade a spade.
But now, what you're saying, don't you find that a lot of people expect that? I'm sure when they hear you talking, that like you provide training
For domestic workers?
Yes.
No.
because there are a lot of people who do
There are a
that.
lot of people who do that. There's nobody who does training for employers.
So for you, okay.
Yeah. I'm employers.
So
We have 60% of the problem.
But you see,
Yes.
that requires humility, but it is
It does.
important.
It's hard. Oh, in 2024, I even decided to take a seat back because I was getting people in my inbox shouting at me and telling me, Wangeci, why are you educating these girls? Do you know what these girls have done to us? And I'm like, it's not that I don't know, but we've got to take some of the blame. How did you get there?
True.
Did you do the background check? I have on my website a place where you can put references. It's free. Put your references about the domestic worker who has worked for you. Put their name, their national, their NIN number. Say that if they had stolen from you, because we all have OB numbers, put the OB number so that we know, so that if somebody calls me and tells me, Wangeci, I have this NIN or I have this ID number, can you check for me the background? Should I hire them? And I'll tell you, I give them a 6 out of 10 because I can see it. I'm not going to share with you what it says, but I can look and do that. It's taken an act of Congress because literally it takes 5 minutes to fill this form. Nobody wants to fill it. I think I've only had like 40 women in 2 years who filled it in and have written down, she's a fantastic person. I didn't have a problem with her. I can vouch for her. The others are like, this one stole from me. And then, I get people calling me afterwards and they're like, okay, Wangeci, what can you do for me? Because she wiped me out. She stole everything. I'm like, do you have her ID number? No. Do you have a photograph? No. What is her name?
They don't even really know.
They don't really know that.
That's on us. That's on us.
Exactly. So how do you want me to help you? You don't have a photograph. You don't have a genuine ID. You've called the agency. They've now even blocked you. So what are you what do you want me to do? I can't help you at that point.
I have to say my philosophy has always been that they are not perfect.
They're
in
not.
the same way I am not perfect.
Yes.
If 70, 80%
Yes.
is great.
Yes.
You can overlook a bit of the 20 and 30 if it's not a deal breaker.
Absolutely.
Well, I know we have to wrap up.
I know.
We could talk
my
for
goodness.
3 hours.
I know. You and I, we always have so much
So
to
as we
talk
wrap
about.
up,
Yes.
Good Housekeeping Africa, which is your baby right now.
Yes.
Where do people go? What is the website?
The website is goodhousekeeping.africa.
Okay. Goodhousekeeping.africa.
And then also my social media handles are goodhousekeeping.africa or Good Housekeeping Africa.
Yes.
And you can ask any questions. We have an upcoming class about how to identify and spot sexual predators in your home.
Oh, yes.
Because it's
they are
becoming
so
quite
vulnerable.
exactly because most of the time 70% when these things happen with children, even with adults, it's somebody that you know. So in the next few weeks, actually, if you follow my handles, you'll be able to see that class, and it's for everybody. It's for because this is not a Uganda problem. Domestic workers and employers having problems.
Yes.
It's not a Kenya problem or Uganda problem.
Universal.
It's a universal problem.
Yes.
So this class is going to be for everyone. It's going to be online. Join the class. It's something like $10. Come for an hour, ask questions, and if you've got questions that you want to ask, we're going to have a psychologist and a counselor on the call as well, so that you can ask the questions and say, "Oh, I think my child is going through this," because that is the class that a lot of men have asked about because it happened to them growing up. So they want to protect their children.
Right.
Women haven't actually asked for it, but men have, which I find quite interesting.
No, a lot of men, when they were younger, they had their first sexual experiences with
Absolutely.
the women in the home.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, we've got some upcoming classes, but yeah, you get free knowledge on the handles. I'm always willing to share information.
Yeah.
So yeah, get in touch with us at goodhousekeeping.africa.
Well, thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you so
me.
much for
This was
having
good.
me. You know, like I said, I love being in Uganda. It's very rainy, but this is my favorite weather. I'll
Yes,
be
it
very
is.
honest. I love this weather.
Okay, that's the Kenyan in you.
Yeah,
No.
it's not the Kenyan
We
in
don't
me.
want this rainy weather.
No. The heat here can be debilitating.
Would I rather the cold than... Anyway, I
Yes.
have to wrap up.
No problem.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much.